Welcome to Palace to the Core. My name is Stephen Dawes. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for supporting the channel. We did it again. Second trophy, second piece of silverware in 3 months. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing that we've got to this situation. I mean, when you think about it, and I was speaking to people at the ground, you know, some of us have waited 50 years, longer than that, to win anything. Okay, we've got the ZDS Cup. I understand that is silverware technically, but you know, for something major like the FA Cup, Community Shield, and we've done it, both of them in 3 months. Absolutely unbelievable. This is, of course, the official video of me talking about the game. But before we go that far, I want to tell you about something amusing that happened before the game. Now, for those of you who saw me there, and I want to thank everyone who said hello and shook my hand, and we had a good chat. Many of us had a good chat. It was fantastic. Thank you for that. Really do appreciate that. And but before I got to the ground, I was wearing a regular t-shirt. I had my Palace shirt in my bag because I don't know about you, but sometimes I find them a little bit hot, especially as the weather was hot. I find them when I wear them to be a bit hot. So I thought, well, I'll wear it. I'll change into it when I get to the ground. So we got to the ground, me and my brother, and we couldn't really find anywhere to go. So we went to the McDonald's, which is very near the ground, and I thought, okay, I'll go into the toilets and change my shirt. So I decided to go into the toilets, and it was literally wall-to-wall people. You couldn't even lift your arms up to do anything like that. So I thought, well, I can't change it in here. So I'll change it in the little foyer area where you go into the first door, and then you have the men's and ladies. I thought I'll change in there. I'm only taking my shirt off. It's not going to be anything big. 5-second job, done. So I get my Palace shirt out of my bag, take off my t-shirt, and I go to put on my Palace shirt. Now, of course, I've been on the underground, been walked up to Wembley Stadium. I was a bit sweaty, and so I tried to get my Palace t-shirt on, and it got stuck under my arms like that. It got stuck here and around the back. I couldn't pull it down. I couldn't release it because it got stuck. And so I was kind of thinking to myself, I need to hurry this up because, you know, someone's going to come in a minute. And it was at that point when I realised I hadn't tied my shorts up properly, and they started to slip down. So you can imagine the thoughts going through my head as my trousers were descending and my t-shirt wasn't. At that moment, a member of McDonald's staff did come in. Thankfully, I'd managed to regain control of my trousers by that point, and so that was a little bit of an amusing situation. I managed to sort the situation out in the end, thankfully, before I left the little foyer area. If for whatever reason that person from McDonald's is watching this video, I humbly apologise for seeing me in such a state of undress, and hopefully it hasn't scarred you for life. Anyway, on to the game. And I have to say, before the game, I was thinking to myself, you know, we are, as I said in the preview video, you know, we've kind of, you know, it's not a fear thing for us now at Wembley Stadium. We've been there a couple of times. We've won the FA Cup there. You know, it's no fear for us anymore, like it would be if you go in there for the first time. And I thought that we would have, you know, we would show a good account of ourselves, and we did. First half, I think that. You know, Liverpool had a plan. They looked like they had a plan, and that was to try and get down our right hand side, the side that Chris Richards was marshalling. And to be fair, they were a lot quicker down that right hand side than we were, and so they were getting quite a lot of joy from that. And actually, their first shot actually went in the back of the net, and so that was a little bit of a shocker for us sitting there, and I did, you know, it did flick through my mind quickly. I hope this isn't the beginning of a bad day for us, because, you know, it was one of the very early on in the game, first shot for Liverpool, and they'd scored a goal, and I was getting quite concerned at that point. And they did continue to have a lot of joy down that right hand side, but we did manage to kind of stem the tide a little bit, to the point where we actually managed to get an equaliser, and it was a foul, which led to a penalty being given to us. We were given this penalty. Jean-Philippe Mateta put it away very nicely, and it was 1-1. So after Jean-Philippe Mateta scored that equaliser, I felt that we were on a much better footing. I felt that for the previous 10 minutes we'd worked really hard, we'd got into the game, and we looked like we were starting to impose ourselves on the game. Then, literally a few minutes later, Liverpool equalised. Now I can't work out whether Frimpong actually was meant to cross the ball or what happened. At first I thought it was a deflection, that it had come in and deflected into our goal. But it did look like it had a deflection, so I'm not sure whether he actually intended for the ball to go in there or whether he was trying to cross it. You guys can let me know down in the comment section what you think on that, whether you think it was a deliberate goal or not. But either way, it beat Henderson by dipping over the top and made it 2-1. So we went in 2-1 down at the break, and I felt it was a bit disappointing, obviously, to be that situation, but I felt we still had a lot of fight in the game. Second half, when we came out, I actually felt that Liverpool didn't come out as strongly as they did in the first half, and I felt that we came out in a much better position. We seemed to be a lot more organised. There was a few missed passes in that first half. There was a bit of hit and hope, trying to knock the ball forward to Mateta, who was sometimes able to get the ball but sometimes not, and I felt that we were kind of just trying that out a bit too much. But we were playing some very nice passing moves in the middle. Adam Wharton, of course, was doing what Adam Wharton does and playing some really nice passes in there. And I felt that, things were kind of a lot more even in the second half. And then towards the end of the second half, around the 70th minute, we a lovely ball from Adam Wharton to put into his path, and he managed to get it past Alisson, and he went in for 2-2. So that was a really good celebration, I can tell you, at 2-2. And at that point I thought, we could actually try and nick this game with getting a second goal. And Justin Devaney, who came on a little while before that, he actually nearly did get a third goal. It was on his weaker foot, unfortunately for him, and he put it just wide of Alisson's goal, which was certainly a breath-holding moment for us. But anyway, so that was the way it ended too, and then of course it went straight to penalties. And I was concerned because Liverpool have got a lot of very good players, who can score goals, and so I was thinking that it was going to be very tough to do it. And I was very shocked when Mo Salah stepped up and put it over the bar. I really was surprised by that. I don't know his shot conversion rate in terms of penalties, but I was surprised to see him put it over the bar. And then that, compared with two very good saves by Dean Henderson, meant that that it was in our favour. Now Eze sadly didn't score. You can say what you want to say about his run-up. My brother wasn't very happy about his run-up. He's stepping and then stopping and whatever. It didn't work on this occasion. A lot of people will say you just got to put your foot through it, which may well have happened. He's a very talented player. I'm sure that he could get past the keeper without having to do that. But anyway, that's just an opinion. And it got down to the end of it, and Justin Devaney apparently stepped up and said he wanted to take the penalty. Now, bearing in mind at this point, if we scored this goal, we would have won the Community Shield. And to his credit, he stepped up there and he put his foot through it, beat Alisson, and we managed to win the Community Shield, which is unbelievable. We've beaten Manchester City to win the FA Cup. We've now beaten Liverpool to win the Community Shield, and it's like I've said many times in the past, we can beat any team on our day if we play well enough, and I think that we've proved that we can do that now. And it was absolute elation. There were lots of hugs going on with complete strangers, and I think that it was just a fantastic day out. Now, I'm sure there are many of you who were either there or watched it on the TV, but I would love to hear your thoughts, whether you were there or whether you just watched it on TV. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the game. What did you like about it? What did you think we could have done better? I think in terms of players, I think everyone played their part. Oliver Glasner said after the game that Chris Richards has only had 2 weeks training. He hasn't trained for 2 weeks, I should say. Daniel Munoz hasn't trained for 3 weeks. So to have them on the pitch playing as well as they did was a real testament to their fitness anyway, but also to their commitment. And and yeah, we did lose Kamada. He apparently had a pain in his knee, which Oliver Glasner doesn't think is that serious, but he's going to be checked out today, I think it was, on the Monday. And Gahey went off because he had cramps. So we did lose a couple of players, but thankfully I don't think they're going to be serious problems. And I think it was just an amazing day, absolutely fantastic. So that's pretty much my interpretation of the game. But as I say, I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about the whole situation. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining me. Thank you again to everyone who said hello yesterday. And until next time, I'll see you then. The winner